Hi everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have an update of energies for you today for the Divine Feminine and Masculine from yesterday and today, as well as my sand art messages, and I'll do oracle cards at the end. I'm just going to show you two of the pictures. I actually am basing the information that I'm giving you now from 4 reads, 3 yesterday and the Divine Feminine this morning. But I'm just going to show you one from the Divine Masculine yesterday, the first one, and then the one from this morning for the Divine Feminine, okay? So this is the Divine Masculine from yesterday, which was at 11:11 actually. Okay. And then for the Divine Feminine this morning, it's 12:44. I was just going to look up a picture for you that was very cool before I do my sand art. I was just taking a picture of my my sage that I burned for this video actually, and it came out pretty cool, so I just wanted to show it to you. See if it'll come in a little bit clearer. It actually, the flames are like separated. It's not coming up though on here. Anyway, the two flames are a little bit more separated. You can't see it as well on here, but I just thought it was a pretty cool picture. So before I started today, I meditated and asked Jesus if there was a message to give you guys today. And what came up had to do with, well, it was the Undines, or the Undine, and everything about water. And the music of the spheres. So I was guided to look up the specific definition because it has to do with elemental beings or water nymphs. The original word was Latin of unda, which means wave. And also there's a medical definition. It's a small glass container used for irrigating your eyes. Okay, so the water of your eyes. So these were all the things that I was meant to bring up for you. Also that the mermaid in the waterfalls lacked a human soul. And so for immortality, she must have one by marrying a human. But such a union is not without risk for the man, because if he is unfaithful, he is fated to die. And also the child of the mermaid and the man would contain a watermark or an aquatic characteristic from the relationship, which required some kind of water therapy or that kind of thing. And also the music of the spheres came up. So the sound that the planets make, and it's very similar to the sound that the dolphins and whales make underwater. So it's connecting the two for you, that how important this kind of music is, okay, because it's very soothing to the soul. But also a reminder to drink water and how important it is, and to say blessings into your water. I actually have a little rose quartz crystal always in my water that I drink. So you might want to try that too, but make sure you wash it first. And yeah, just to connect with the elementals as well. So not only the undines, but the gnomes and sylphs and salamanders. Okay. So and we know that, you know, that water's coming up. And the card in my Ascension deck is water, that has to do with the Undine. That it's all about emotions. That it's also, you know, remember that we're mostly made of water. We can't sustain life without water. So emotions are not unnecessary. They're part of being human. So to allow them and go with them, and more messages regarding this and allowing your humanity come up during the reads today. So I'm going to go through the sand art first. because there was a lot of messages that came from the sand art. The sand art was done at 1:52 a.m. this morning. The messages I got were a shark with no right eye, and actually the brain was kind of like blasted out a bit on that side, disrupted or falling apart, the right head. Strong arming smaller fish. People passing things down, but also moving, like so passing boxes. Also I got jump shot, like a basketball jump shot, a one-handed basket. If there's another term for that, let me know. Even if I knew at one point, I don't remember words very well anymore, so you can post below if you want to add the information. Also got crocodile smiles as opposed to crocodile tears. Also pointing the finger, especially at angels and children. I was getting stuck in the mud, and also getting wet feet, or getting your feet wet, testing the waters, which also comes up in the reads. Foot massage comes up, as well as a woodpecker, but it was like an artificial woodpecker. It wasn't a real bird. It looked like a woodpecker, but it was very much having to do with the other stuff, because birth is also coming up, so it has to do with birth, right? Wood and pecker. Woodpecker staring at vaginal birthing process. So obviously there's a lot of pregnancy energy coming up here and delivering birth. So someone, obviously a divine masculine, hasn't been able to have sex for a while. So he's kind of eyeing his prize at the moment. Someone also eating a drumstick, like a chicken drumstick, but also the thighs too, which was also a reference for chubby baby legs. A masculine strong arming legs open of a feminine and looking away. So this was also a violent act, but it wasn't someone who was unwilling. Okay, so it's just in a relationship that's not good, where the divine masculine wants sex but won't even look at the person. Okay, and he's kind of forcing his way. So completely disconnected as he's doing this, he loses his strength and his heart grows spontaneously. The shark's head dumps out, like I'd seen before. It's kind of like that bleh, okay? And also the right divine masculine arm as well. So someone might be having a right arm or right shoulder issue, divine masculine. As the angels redirect crocodile tears, as multiple people helping someone search the ground in the mountains above a beautiful formation of water, with bats. And I was also getting Batman's sidekick, loses right arm. So he loses his sidekick, his right arm. And also batting arms. There might be a pitcher who's having an issue with his arm. And I was getting the right arm. So it'd be a pitcher with a right arm. I was also getting seals, like the animal seal, but it could reference to seals as well. And drones were coming up. And just as they were about to give up, the ring is found. So people were all over the ground searching the grounds for something that was lost. And then all of a sudden, a ring shows up. And it was definitely an engagement ring in the picture. It was very literal. Someone lost the engagement ring. And then also that somebody will be presented with an engagement ring. As the divine masculine becomes very aroused, rockets are taking off. The divine masculine is relaxing in his veil, helmet, and spacesuit on a mountainside, so excited and relieved, in the one situation where he's found this ring that he lost. Also, I was seeing a right thigh into a right hip socket falling apart. Also wagon trains and putting out fires with some eruptions of volcanic eruptions. And still moving, woodpecker still watching as baby is put down to sleep. But I also see a hooded person, or an ET, dealing with a baby in a kind way. It's nothing negative. But also ETs involved with the babies, or a hooded person putting them down to sleep. But I was also getting the bat mask is caving. So the Batman mask is falling away from the divine masculine. He can't keep up the mask anymore. So I was getting Also a surgical table and ultrasound. So I was seeing like a surgical table involving a birth. So it looks like someone's having a C-section. Or maybe some kind of complication. It wasn't specifying. But I was seeing erupting emotions. And it was like you're seeing during the delivery of a peanut. And someone's heart pounding. And then a small shock to the father at delivery. And then the father's gone. So I don't know if there maybe someone finds out it's not their child. Or some other kind of shock to the father where maybe the person delivering was awake and screaming something, maybe just mad at him, so he left. So there could be different scenarios for this, but definitely the father was there and then left, and there's a small shock was being shown. Okay, so he might have, if it was not his child, he might have suspected and was just kind of waiting to find out at the delivery, and then leaving, like being there for her to be the the stand-up guy, and then leaving. So those are the information I was getting from the sand art, so it was a lot. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to yesterday. And yesterday was all about the narcissist, first thing in the morning. The narcissist, learning about the narcissist was coming up yesterday, and understanding the narcissist. There was also my cat on my deck in the backyard, was curled up licking himself on the deck, and he's returned the past 2 or 3 days. And the first day he was just completely sleeping out on the couch part, and then the next 2 days he was on the chair, and yesterday he was definitely licking himself. So, and very aggressive about it. And that was pretty funny that I noticed that. So yesterday was the 30th. The 30 is the Four of Wands energy, which is, the union energy. It was also, I wrote the wrong date down there. So, let's see. So yesterday was 50. The day added up to 50, which is the 10 of Cups, which is really beautiful energy. So we have the Four of Wands and the 10 of Cups. Yeah. So yesterday and actually today the energies were really positive as well. And I actually ended up going to another baby shower yesterday. So the baby energy is definitely there. I had a baby shower last weekend and this weekend. And going into the Divine Feminine, this is the Divine Feminine energies yesterday, and there's 2 Divine Masculine energy reads yesterday, and then the Divine Feminine this morning. So just so you know, so you can skip around if you want to listen to one thing or another. And then the Oracle cards at the end. So the first feminine read yesterday was all about shadow, which is the Devil card, and justice. Okay, there were 3 pentacles, 4 wands, 1 sword, and 1 cup, and the only court card was about the King of Pentacles yesterday, which was interesting because the only strong masculine energy that I was dealing with yesterday was my older brother, which very much I see as a King of Pentacles. Sometimes more so the King of Wands, but definitely, and I chatted with him for a bit because he had been on a trip and he was very excited about it because he had a great time. So the number 2 had come up, and 3411. As well as the coding was about protecting the heart, but not to. That support is basically a department of judgment when you refuse to see the heart. Okay, so judgment comes out of not being in a heart space. But we're human, we'll always be judging. I mean, even when you say someone's beautiful, that's a judgment. So don't get on yourself of being about being judgmental. You're just stating what you perceive, okay? It's not about being harsh or mean, it's just, it's human nature, okay? So also, for some reason, mastectomy was coming up, but I was seeing someone who's had a unilateral mastectomy, so one breast. And it was coming up, it was like Spirit was just showing me the analogy of the clearing away to expose the heart more. And it's like, in a positive way. It's just saying it's just clearing the way to be able to see that person, how beautiful that person's heart is even more. Okay. So, and clearing away, just in general, transmuting and clearing away stuff covering your heart space in order to see more clearly. It certainly wasn't anything derogatory towards someone who's had mastectomy. Okay. Also, just aiding in therapies, you know, by letting go of blocking thoughts and not supporting your divinity. The web of darkness comes up for the divine feminine. Sorry, my glasses are just a little bit foggy. And I was getting the web of darkness relating to internet and phones, things like that, covering emotions of love in a coffee cup. Okay. So, you know, be careful of what you read and how much time you spend with electronic devices, which are not good for you, okay? And also the information that comes through, because there's darkness everywhere on the internet, okay? In knowing about healing and forgiveness when coming back into the fold of others who have let you down in the past. The lover's independence has grown roots up, fighting wounds, not experiencing loss and regret, and not seeing the two good cups. Goes back to the three that were knocked down and bored with. And still, the opportunity of love from God remains while integrating and grounding the shadow aspect. So it was like referencing a divine masculine, you know, increasing his vibration and learning and all this kind of stuff. And he is increasing his knowledge and spirituality. However, still wasn't fully seeing the two cups that he still has in front of him and letting go of three cups. And then gets bored. Because he's bored, he runs back to what he's used to. But still has this opportunity of the other two cups still waiting there for him. The love from God, the offer from God, source, however you perceive it, love, while integrating and grounding his shadow aspect. Okay? So out in the world, there are liars, cheaters, and thieves who lack faith and are avoiding disasters or cleaning up aftermath, clinging to drama rather than be bored. Okay? So it's showing you this about the nature, just human nature, okay? So, you know, the idle hands or the devil's workshop comes to mind because it's saying when they're bored, they jump back into things that aren't good for them. When we know from going through this experience that it's really an integration period of going within, self-reflection, using that time wisely to reconnect with yourself. True love is the card that comes up as the underlying energy. You know, this is a romance of a lifetime. Loving self, and again, this is for Divine Feminine yesterday, new love, and looking for flame when seeing other couples together, karmic couples with flame between them shining their light and admiring her naked truth, the self-love of the feminine. Negative self-talk and deception and sneaky little shit comes up. Out in nature, looking for new life, connecting with soulmate, in her knowing, ready to fly. So I was getting masculine energy here as well. So it could be coming from the either perspective. Recently, the shadow is impatient, frustrated, stalking, mouthing off, or giving the silent treatment to even the scales. So it's kind of like a revenge thing in aftermath of shadow integration with their true love. So it's coming up like a divine masculine is trying to get back at the feminine for doing something that maybe hurt him or made him mad. The foundation has to do with implementing starting over in love, breaking patterns of home and union. Centrally, expansion about narcissism. And the truth in the King of Wands reverse, which could be exhausted or very angry, and needing an opportunity to rise above the narcissism. Of having his cake and eating it too. choosing path of status, the King of Wands children offer love regardless of the truth of what they see. And what the Divine Masculine hasn't understood yet is that the twin is the same as the child. The narcissist avoids things he can't see because he thinks they're illusions. And he also avoids looking in the mirror at his own reflection. The challenge for the Divine Feminine is only seeing half the truth. And also the one breast of the mastectomy was coming up again. Okay, showing like you're not seeing the full heart. You know, take away the exterior to see the nakedness of the heart. Coming together with the Queen of Wands reversed, who's stuck in her emotions, using work to cover her suffering or her avoidance. So, you know, Queen of Wands reversed can be really nasty, right? Because she's very physically oriented and she's not in her positive energy, okay? Also, I was coming up with this Queen of Wands reversed, that there's no sex in the marriage, and her controlling her beast is now exposed. Rising above the drama, the twin, or the Queen of Swords it was coming up for, but if it doesn't resonate with you, don't force it. The Queen of Swords offers up dark side along with the keys to exposing pain and cutting cords of obsession and stalking. Soon, and standing up for self but not expressing feelings, the King of Pentacles is hung up on a friend and wanting a new life. The Divine Masculine is unsatisfied, holding back passion and being guarded to real love, and wanting to come together with others. And she gets as underlying energy getting to know each other. So it could be friends, family, or your Divine Masculine, but also flirt. Okay? And my perspective of the flirt card is, if you don't have intentions of a relationship with someone, there should be no sexual flirting here. You know, flirting can just be, the nature of flirt to me has to do with being sexual. Okay? So friendly flirtation has nothing to do with sex, and it should not be. So, in my opinion, you know, be careful with people telling you there's nothing wrong with flirting, because you should have experienced in your life by now that that is just not true, because sexual flirting can truly hurt another person if they're not your true intentions. Okay, so getting to know each other and flirt comes up as the underlying energy for the Divine Feminine. And only standing out in the, and I wrote the crowd, only standing out in the crowd stands between you and them. But when I wrote crowd, it actually wrote down crown, which happens to me all the time. It's Spirit changing the word to change the meaning to give you. So standing out in the crown is the only thing that stands between you and them. Okay, so standing out in the crowd is shining your light, but also standing out in the crown means making sure your crown is constantly open and connected to your higher self. Around the Divine Feminine, there's disconnect after getting over loss and sadness or regret of a wrong turn and not getting along at work, or possibly leaving work, now burdened with a new life, the diamond in the rough. You know, so the diamond is beautiful, it's always there, it's in its natural form is beautiful. But, you know, as humans, we like a little polish here and there, so there's always room for more polishing, right? That's the expansion and growth as a human. The diamond is always there. Its beauty is always there. The foundation that's strong and very dense. You know, how long it takes to, you know, to condense a diamond, right? So it's just showing how strong that foundation is. That don't worry about the polish on the outside, you know. When you polish, you polish. And when you don't, you don't. Either way, it's fine. Clear blocks of drama and wounds, fearing, this is for the Divine Masculine, for the Divine Feminine, clear blocks of drama and wounds, continue wounds, about fearing his family interference through controlling marriage and financial independence. So those Divine Feminines who are worried about coming into union and having constant interference by people that they have no idea are involved with their Divine Masculine. Clear blocks of financial stability, and bleeding out for the twin being strong. Okay, so that's, you know, being strong is also a block, can be a block, okay, in the standard templating of what strength means, okay. Free yourself, and also freeing yourself to talk. So just think, whatever I'm saying, whatever kind of fear that brings up, feel into what you're getting. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm saying. Whatever I'm saying, whatever it brings up for you, that's what you need to focus on. And then take a deep breath, because I'm feeling the stress come up in you guys. And then the card as the underlying energy from the numerology deck that came up was adventure being really, really important. So allow your spirit of adventure to fly, okay? The harsh truth of kids in the King of Cups, or him freeing himself from a kids and a Leo. Justice rings with a new life offer of love to go out and be free with the King of Cups and learn information about the masked boy behind the King of Cups, the prisoner of his childhood holding back the truth that the Queen of Swords talks about, okay, as the Divine Feminine. So dark shadows, okay, of home coming together for new life balance, of giving and receiving, and conflict, knowing of the King of Pentacles as the wounded warrior rising above for justice of the masked boy. And also divorce was possibly coming up here. Okay, so now this is coming up a lot over the past couple days, where the Divine Masculine is coming up as all the suits, like the King of Cups and then the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. So the King of Wands is the man of passion, the King of Pentacles is the man of status, and the King of Cups is the man of love and family, okay? So these are all his different aspects. It also could, and Spirit's connecting with me, it also could have to do with other people in his life, but it's very much coming up, the messages I'm getting, having to do with his different aspects, just like the Divine Feminine has many different aspects. You know, your Divine Masculine may have only gotten to know one aspect of you, and now seeing these different aspects of you that he had no idea was there. So then for the Divine Masculine yesterday at 11:11, the only major arcana that came up was the solar deity, which is the sun in this card, the Syrian starseed is the main deck. The numbers 3232 came up, and again I want to remind you that both Jesus and Christ and Sophia resonate to 32, and we got 32 and 32. The court cards were Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, Page of Swords, and Knight of Cups. And it was interesting because the numbers of the cards in the read came up as 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And that reminded me of the two sides of the coin of the Divine Masculine and Feminine, okay, coming together. So the codes having to do with this read was everything to do with the shaman, but the Divine Masculine coming up as the shaman of money and energy, and seeing red at home, that domestic harmony was much needed. Definitely coming up seeing red. I was seeing also getting crying and stalling at home, so obviously there was some conflict going on at home. But it's about the Divine Masculine being all about the money and the energy stuff. But if he can change that to the shaman energy, he can develop that more. And also to rely on the Divine Feminine for energy as well, and helping him see certain things about domestic harmony. So he needs to tune into his Divine Feminine for help on that, okay? Then I was getting, for the Divine Masculine, stuck in his emotions at work, stressed and possibly crying as well, walking away, allowing the Emperor to come out. The Lover is out, independent, growing roots up, feeling sadness and loss. Lovers are judged as Thanksgiving feast of Mary and Jesus. It's time. Very sad, going within, divinely guided. The Divine Masculine, the underlying energy was you deserve love. And he needs to cut cords of obsession. And new beginnings was coming up as underlying energy too. Is very important. Obsessed with work, whether it is any kind of codependencies or addictions. All right, he needs to cut cords of this. Emotional manipulator, the devil. Recently, the Queen of Swords, impatient, saving, questioning your worth without getting attention and being bored, integrating. Okay, so here the boredom comes up again for the Divine Feminine. The foundation is the Queen of Wands. Together, sad, with loss of mother or possible miscarriage or miscarriage of love. Okay, so there's definitely loss. It looked like the karmic had lost a mother or a child, or just a miscarriage of love, so a love situation as well. Lost their soulmate. Okay, whether that soulmate be a partner, a child, or a mother. So centrally, a secret lover at work is exposed, offering love, and then being burned at the full moon or at night, often when they connect at night. The challenge for the Divine Masculine is enlightened to healing and forgiving and recovering in a practical way at work. Again, a Leo is coming up. So there's either a Leo married to a Queen of Wands or a Queen of Wands who is a Leo, committed and looking at options of giving and receiving and exposure. So they may even be looking at ways of getting back at someone who exposed them. Now he is in his heart, as the Queen of Wands is breaking patterns of anger and lack of inspiration and depression and being a devil manipulator. Okay, her dark side. Dysfunctional family is losing money and feeling jealous, and on the other side, a sad girl in pain, burning the past with air sex and karmic options on the warpath to get her way, making so it was showing basically on the other side, dysfunctional family of the Divine Masculine on his one side, and showing on the other side a sad girl in pain, burning the past of the energy stealing and that kind of thing. But the Divine Masculine with karmic options on the warpath to get her way, making a potion to expose new love of King of Swords. So the karmic looking for revenge or vengeance or just being sneaky about this. Soon the King of Swords reversed, who's someone who's just not in his truth or can be a liar, or could just feel like he doesn't know enough, okay, just, not strong. Meditates on news or message that he gets. A little bit of light about a new love, justice, is exposed. Justice exposed sharing. He is the Knight of Cups, being emotional. The King of Pentacles, truth, is rejection. An immature boy who stole from a fool in order to get revenge. Okay, so that can come up as different thing for different people, so whatever resonates with you, okay? The cards that came up for the Divine Masculine is it is safe to love, which they get over and over and over again, okay? That you are lovable and it is safe to love, showing them that they're worthy. They don't need to rely on everyone else for their worth. Okay, and also true love comes up for them. Around him, the Knight of Swords comes in with truth from the Queen of Swords reversed. She's not in her truth or could be lying. But this message of truth is coming in from the Queen of Swords reversed, that the worst is over and thank God. So she just could be very depleted and not knowing all the information, okay? But cords still need to be cut. Clear blocks of being on the defensive for the Divine Masculine. Satisfied, alone, working, depressed, divorced, holding energy of deception. Okay? If you're holding any negative energy, it should be cleared and you should be changing your perspective. Domestic harmony comes up, as well as synchronicities as even more important for the Divine Masculine. Are you paying attention to the synchronicities? Do you realize why you're seeing them? And they're never going to stop until you start paying attention to them and understanding why you're receiving them. There's a passion of a new love. Twins surrounded by the King of Swords, third party love exposed when Judge or Libra took the stand to manifest expressing his feelings about a new love, fixing things or covering things up with a little bit of love to balance justice for the kids. That also can be about the twin. I was getting Sagittarius energy coming up as far as conflict of manipulation of the truth, choosing a path of the third party and walking away. Walking away from the Queen of Wands to offer love to God, and a Queen of Swords exposing work, or exposing at work, and the news rising above, and being in his warm heart with his kids and or twin, truth. Okay? So it's very much about, you know, his transformation. So then right after this, later in the day, this is 7:30, actually last night, for the Divine Masculine, the court cards were Hanging Man, Alchemy, Strength, Justice, and Tower. Okay, Alchemy is the Temperance card. One sword, 4 cups, 1 wand. The King of Cups and the Page of Cups were the only court cards. Okay, so this is very loving energy. King of Cups and Page of Cups. So it could be the Divine Masculine and his inner child in his fatherly loving mode, or it could be him and his inner child, or him and one of his children, or him and his new love. Okay, so the messages and the numbers for this read had to do with the number 5, which is expansion and change. 141, as well as the number 25 came up. It's really, the codes were all about parenting. It also had to do with spiritual career and happiness, happy ending. But the parenting had to do with the conflict without divinity equals no alchemizing in parenting, okay? So if you don't use divinity, when there's conflict with children, you're not going to get any peace in parenting, okay? You need to bring the divinity in. And that was very much the message to the Divine Masculine, and about division, okay? To alchemize division with you and your children. And you need to learn to stay present to transmute the energies, okay, of the expansion and change. So the read had to do with Hanging Man with a bum knee. I was getting that very much so this week. The right knee still being an issue. After rushing in passionately, and I was getting even more so that someone might have been injured from someone else, or just doing, you know, messing around with kids or whatever. But I was getting a specific knee injury. Not only the anger in there, but an injury. So Hanging Man with a bum knee after rushing in passionately at night for a new life offer to a negative inner child, or a difficult child, or stalking as conflict arises. Sitting in conflict, the Knight of Pentacles, an energized horse lost him money. Okay, so somebody might have been betting at the races as well. Invisible man manifesting a new life path with news or message or a child. No love loss, with Empress reversed, without options, but to leave behind an old woman and lose the money. And then I got no child left behind. Okay, so I was getting, there's a lot of conflicts about doing the right thing for the Divine Masculine, maybe having to, and maybe a conflict between money and caring for elders or children, like not wanting to lose all the money, so keeping them home so they save money, but then you know, it's really difficult. So, but if they put them in a home, then they're going to lose a lot of money, that kind of thing. That was the energy I was getting. But also no child left behind. And also, and that could be the message to the Divine Masculine, that if it's energy for the child versus the elderly, that the Divine is saying the focus should be on the child. That's your responsibility, okay? The older person, this is their contract. It's their learning. That's what they have to learn right now. You know, it's just, I can say that from my own experience, all right? Both of my parents were in a facility. And I was very fortunate in that situation because they both had very good long-term care insurance. But, you know, it's not an easy road to live in a facility when you're incapacitated. And I experienced both. My father was physically incapacitated until he passed in 2016, and the last 6 months of his life were hell. You know, he had a smile on his face the whole time until the last 6 months, when he was just withering away. I mean, when he died, he had, you know, his legs were nothing but bone, but he was, you know, he was still fully functional in his mind. You know, he spontaneously had passed when they moved him into his chair that day to go to breakfast. And then for my mother, it's just, you know, she's the opposite. She has the Alzheimer's issue, but physically she's incapacitated now, but she wasn't initially. But you see the reason for them living this part of their life, you know, for people who have often been able to received everything they've wanted in life, and experienced a very good life, but not necessarily were patient people or loving people to all. Okay, and this is a big lesson in patience for them. And it's also a big lesson in them allowing love in their life. Like people who they never would have had time for are now caring for them and loving them, and they're having a very deep connection with these people. So don't disregard the lesson that your parents need to learn. It's not in your control, and nor should it be in your control. This is their lesson and their contract, okay? So when it's a choice of caring for the elderly or the child, it should be the child. That's your responsibility. All right? Because they're the ones who are defenseless and unable to take care of themselves at this time. The elderly had their entire life to take care of themselves, okay? And they understand what's going on. You need to allow them to, if they're wounded by it, that's a wound that they need to clear. So true love came up for the Divine Masculine, as well as romance with the Empress out. Jealousy is out, desperate to divide. Okay, so the Empress energy could also be a mother and trying to interfere. It also could be the karmic interference, as well as it could be a Divine Feminine who's interfering in a relationship. So, whatever fits to your situation. It's all about change, though, and expansion, because that was the cards that are coming up reversed, which means it's really important. New love door. Door message. Ringing the bell to brand a slowpoke. So I was literally seeing a messenger come to a door. So somebody might be actually getting a messenger coming to their door with a message, ringing the bell, but also it's getting from the Divine Masculine he's branding a slowpoke. So he's maybe trying to, get the Divine Feminine to hurry up about something because she's not doing something he's expecting her to do, or to go back in time and to mold a ring. So he's getting metalwork as well. Okay, so branding and metalwork. And then I got spinning wheel, gotta go round. So then the lyrics came up for spinning wheel. Talk about your mother is a crying sin. So these are the old templates, right? God forbid you should say something bad about your mother. Talking about your mother is a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel spin. And I was also getting the horse that came up in the Divine Masculine read as a kid's rocking horse, or even a carousel horse. So at the races, but also in this aspect, okay? So talk about your mother's a crying sin. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel spin, okay? Have fun with the kids. What will be, will be. Got no money and I got no home. Spinning wheels all alone. Talking about your trouble and you'll never learn. Spirit's connecting really strong right now. Ride a painted pony, let the spinning wheel turn, all right? So it's saying stop worrying about your troubles and enjoy your life, okay? News of being down on your luck. Recently sucked into details of more work that aligns with pain. The foundation for the Divine Masculine is meditating and rest to free up or to fix up and patch things up with the eye of the tiger to be strong. Centrally, impatience is coming up of independent, frustrated child, defensive, so it could be the Divine Masculine as well as one of his children, as hermit sheds light on the twins and or children, as the hermit bleeds out because they're stressed. The challenge being freedom of the world in alchemizing union. With little love, the high priestess new passion. So he's seeing, he sees his Divine Feminine as the Page of Cups, really. It's that child who's pure of love, okay? Now the family is running away to the high priestess or to a secret or to the Divine Masculine's own abilities. But it's coming up as the Emperor, deceived about new life in pain cycles still, without luck. Stuck expressing his own stuck emotions. The twin Queen of Swords is in pain, leaning on the truth. And it was weird because asparagus came up here, but also a green snake, or roped in by Archangel Michael to offer lover in union separation fantasy and to be tossed away. So it was like Michael was saying that this was his doing on purpose because the Divine Feminine had to go through this. Okay, but I'm going to say that again because there's some different messages that you can take here. So twin, the Queen of Swords, so it's still in pain of her mourning, leaning on her truth of asparagus. So if that connects for someone, let me know in the comments, okay? Or a green snake, okay? So this is something that's toxic. Or being roped in by Archangel Michael to offer love in union, separation, fantasy, or in other words, the journey that you've been on, and then be tossed away, just to be tossed away. So that's what the Divine Feminine has gone through in order to find her own faith. Soon, the King of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the King of Cups, so these are three upright masculines together, join the King of Cups, who's one of them, at the full moon or working toward the new moon in order to walk his path, juggling for the Queen of Wands, looking away. So it's like, he got sucked back into some kind of karmic tie or contract situation where there's a King of Pentacles, Emperor, and King of Cups on his path, juggling for the Queen of Wands, who's looking away. Like, she doesn't want to give him attention, but she just wants him to keep working for her to make her money. So it's not that it's a negative situation, but it's not for his highest good, okay? It's about making more money. It has nothing to do with what makes him happy. Driving, excited to take a leap of faith. That the Divine Masculine is justice. And then I was seeing someone going, na 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 na, leaving the world behind in his chariot in a passionate new beginning of sharing. So it's like the Divine Masculine finally getting away when he finally does get it, him leaving saying, no, 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 you're stuck doing all that stuff, I don't have to do that anymore, okay? So then finance and career, and this could be the one comes up for the Divine Masculine. Around him expressing feelings, announcing dreams of marriage. Clearing blocks of cracking his heart open after not having come together or getting along at work, sitting in very uncomfortable emotions. Parenting came up for him, as well as spiritual career and happy ending, like I had said in the beginning. Protecting self from great pain. The Tower comes up. Drinking, possibly some Divine Masculines drinking to offer love, like, liquid courage. And then driving to express feelings of coming together to teach the Queen of Wands on how to perform. Alright, so there's also some kind of, there may be Divine Masculine going to his karmic to tell her what he needs from her. But this is also a Tower moment, okay? Implementing end of family. So it doesn't only have to be like that. It could be also the Divine Masculine. Maybe they're not together anymore, but they're still working together, or doing something together where he needs to train her on something before he leaves. So also implementing end of family or spending family money, holding back truth from the Queen of Cups reversed, which can be either manipulative energy or just someone who's really emotional because they're really sad. In order to maintain balance, the King of Wands orchestrates a symphony to transform. So it could also be, there could be a King of Wands, a Divine Masculine, who actually orchestrates a symphony for a funeral. But it's also orchestrating a symphony in order to transform. The Queen of Wands devil opportunity. So how can he get out of this and yet still benefit from it? The King of Wands, who's the man of passion, is looking the other way as the Queen of Wands joins the devil in an opportunity. So I'm not saying he walked away, he's looking away. So he's looking the other way, allowing her to join up with some dark opportunity, okay? The Hangman, with anger issues, needs courage to find justice through expressing feelings of suffering for twin, trying to alchemize the King of Cups energy along with his inner child and open up to family suddenly to find balance. Okay? And this came up too in comments too. If you're a Divine Feminine who may come across information only to find out the Divine Masculine is doing more to make his relationship good, it just means that his vibration is rising, okay? So, my advice is not to watch anything that's going on in 3D with your masculine. It's not in your control anyway, and you're only going to hurt yourself because it's going to hurt your feelings. But allow him to go through what he has to do to grow in order to find what's in his highest good with his free will to choose what he wants to choose and to trust him in that, okay? If you're not trusting him in that, he's feeling that, okay? So he's going to, well, how do you feel when someone doesn't trust your opinion or your perspective, right? You get defensive and you pull away. So if you're not trusting him and his process, then he's not going to trust you back. You need to let go and allow him, trust him, that he knows his contract, his destiny, his higher self is guiding him. You have to allow that to happen, okay? Believe me, I'm not perfect either. It's not like I'm perfectly doing this journey all the time either, but that's the truth of it. So today we come into October, okay? And October is amazing. It's the Wheel of Fortune, number 10. I always loved October, but for me it's right after my birthday, so it was always a good time of the year for me. But October 1st is all about the Magician, the one, and the day adds up to 22, which is the Fool, a beautiful new beginning or a leap of faith. Very beautiful energy today, very strong, and magical manifestations. And it's Monday. I happen to be born on a Monday. So the new moon energies are coming up now too, as well, since it's coming up. I'm not sure if the date is the 8th, but it's around the 8th. It's very sunny today, very positive, exposing energies. Okay. For the Divine Feminine today, and again, the 22-4, the Fool, is just who he is. The 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside. It's the feminine energy of creation, okay, of nurturing. He is exactly how he's seen. And the Magician is the 1. It's the 01, 01, 01. It's the vibration, the making magic, the manifestation, the co-creating, the trigger, so to speak. So that's the perfect marriage of the co-creation partnership, right? Because you have the pure divine energy of the Fool, right? The creation, the creative abilities, and then the Magician who can take those abilities and mold them and magically make them come to life, which is the the ideal partnership in this union, okay? So the Divine Feminines read for today, this morning, the major arcana were the higher self, karma, and we were just at 5252, which is the Queen of Swords energy. So I was guided to that, to see that, because the Queen of Swords is very much about the Divine Feminine. Okay, and now remember, the Queen of Swords is, seen as in mourning, right? She's in her head, learning to master her thoughts because of the pain she's been through. But remember too, it's the 3rd step in the tarot. We go from the wands to the cups, and then to the swords. The sword is just before manifestation. So don't see this as a negative thing, okay? You need to feel hurt and pain to learn your faith and your divinity so that you can learn to manifest. And that's when you get into the pentacles and are able to manifest more in your business life and come together with your twin to co-create. So it's very beautiful in October, okay? We have the Wheel of Fortune for us all month, okay? So use it to your benefit. It's very positive energy. The major arcana for the Divine Feminine this morning: higher self, which is the High Priestess; karma, which is the Judgment card; star; and alchemy. Alchemy is the Temperance card. There were 5 wands and 2 swords, which is very unusual for the Divine Feminine. She rarely has 5 wands. That's more of a masculine energy thing, okay? No cups, no pentacles, and the court cards are King of Wands and King of Swords, 2 kings. It was very much about the Divine Masculine in her read, all throughout the read. The number 2, well, I'm being guided to 2, but 99 comes up, as well as 11, 2, 9, and 11, 99, 52, 12, and also 1.5 out of 2, or 0.75, 3/4, came up. The coding for the Divine Feminine it was all about nature, and it's not just about outside nature, but what's natural for humans, okay? What is your nature? It's about two seekers, or it could be about two children, seeking support from the high nine, or the collective consciousness of fire, which is transmutation, in order to support without judgment or with judgment, which is natural. Also the twins supporting the high nine, the wounded warrior in judgment. And judgment, there can be support in judgment, but it's weak support. Okay, it's not pure support. But it's natural to humans. So don't get on your case for judging something. Otherwise you're going to be constantly judging yourself. Okay? So let go of that. There's nothing wrong with judgment. You're going to judge as long as you're human, but it's about learning to raise your vibration. You are who you are right this moment. But as you learn lessons, you become naturally less judgmental. Okay? Obviously the goal is to be pure of heart and to be non-judgmental, but we will never be non-judgmental completely. And like I said, saying someone's beautiful is a judgment. So do not get on your case about being judgmental. If you're being mean to someone for no reason, yes, judge yourself for that. And don't do it again. You know, I understand that kind of judgment. But don't, you know, in the twin flame community, for the most part, the divine feminines are not people who are hurting people on purpose. So don't judge yourself for judging. Okay? See the negative spirit. And I also got Tupac came up, and I'm not sure why, so if someone knows why, please say so in the comments. See the negative spirit. And I was getting to mask, and I don't like to say asshole, but asshole. I was saying the code was see negative spirit to mask asshole, and it was showing northeast of flames, judged. Okay, northeast has to do with going in the right direction, right? Because you're going east where the sun rises and north to your North Star. So northeast of your flame, or of flames. So go, you know, it's like rising above, being judged. And just remember that it's just negative energy. And someone has a mask on, because remember, people who are behaving that way are just very insecure. So go rise above, be your northeast you when you're dealing with, you know, mean energy, negative energy of judgment. Transmute the energy. And if you can't do it in the moment, just don't react and let go of it until you can get away, and then you can deal with your emotions then. To see the negative spirit, support high wounded warrior being judged, or who sits in judgment. So not only the judgment of those who are being cruel, but also those who are being judged, right? Because sometimes you see people and you judge them, and you shouldn't, but it's natural. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just look at why you judge that person. Why did that come up for you? All right, so twin flames support the judge and jury. It's natural. The key is to support judge and jury. You have to go through the judge and jury process in order to purify. Okay, high nine, transmutation and judgment. So very important. This is for the divine feminine, okay? Time for twins to take on the world as their inspired side comes out to play today. The Empress sees her opportunity to take more money, or to make more money for new life, staying present and not looking into the future. Sick of being out in the cold, alone, unable to see the divine masculine with her physical eyes, bringing to light the need to be patient and test the waters to move toward peace or in a new direction. Going with the flow, allowing the moon cycles to guide your way. As we head toward the new moon around October 8th, 2018. The underlying energies, we're paying attention to the red flags or your synchronicities. What feels good? What feels right for you? Pay attention to what your heart's telling you. And again, you know, you have to be discerning in your heart and your solar plexus, because of course, you know, when you feel fear, your solar plexus gets vamped up. So, you know, make sure to meditate so you know you're in your heart space before making a decision about something. And also, again, which I've brought up before, just practice what your heart feels when you say a lie or say a truth. Okay? Feel what happens. What are the physical changes to your heart space? Because usually when you're telling the truth, your heart relaxes. And it involves your throat as well. Because usually if you lie, your heart is like all up in your throat. There's contracting and you feel, goes up into your throat. So if you can really learn the subtleties in your heart energies when you tell a lie or tell a truth, then you never will question anything, because you can just ask yourself the truth and you'll know the answer. Okay? So go back and edit. I was also being called to go back and edit or improve. And asking yourself, this is even in your work, are you accepting something less than what's inspiring to you? So you're letting something go because you weren't inspired that day. Well, go back to it when you are inspired. Don't let it go and let it be kind of half-assed done that way. Do what's inspiring to you. And if it doesn't inspire you, then don't use that. Work on it or start on something else from scratch. Be patient. You don't have to get things out in a hurry. Okay? It's just about the process. As long as you're in the process, you're being in your higher self. And then your energy is high, and then you're going to reflect that out to others. Okay? And I'm guilty of that too, of wanting to rush and not doing it as well as it could be done. Okay? So new life with romantic tie, hanging out with kids. And I was getting this for the Divine Masculine. New life, but it can relate to the Divine Feminine's family as well. But I'm telling you, I was getting Divine Masculine energy all throughout this read. It's because we're merging in energies, so there's going to be so much similarity in what we're both going through. They're just from different perspectives and different situations. So take what resonates and leave the rest. New life and romantic tie, hanging out with kids, and an empress in 5D world. Okay? Teaching and learning comes up in the underlying energies for the Divine Feminine. As well as, this was very important, 3 generations of negativity, anger, and lack of inspiration. Okay, and there's different scenarios here. I'm literally is the Emperor, the King of Wands, and the Page of Wands, all reversed. 3 generations of anger, okay, and control, being over-controlling. This legacy, okay, this could also be a grandfather and the father of Divine Masculine, and letting this legacy fall on the shoulders of the Divine Masculine, which is very heavy and negative, okay? It also could be the Divine Masculine and his father both craving a son that he doesn't have in order to pass on their legacy. Or it could be the Divine Masculine or the Divine Masculine's father only seeing one of the 2 children, ignoring the other, or so focused on losing one opportunity that he fails to see the other equally important one that doesn't look or seem as hot because it's not right in front of his face. Okay? So this brings up, what does a baby do? A baby is immature energy. And a baby can only see what's right in front of his face. If you do something to the periphery of a baby, they're not going to react to you. They only react or respond to something that's right in their face. Seeing this, where the Divine Masculine is juggling and only, it's the 2 of Pentacles reversed, could be also dropping the ball or just dropping the facade. But I was only seeing the 1 pentacle because this was a card beneath. Okay, so it was really focusing, and it was reversed, on the weight of this 1 pentacle and putting all the attention on this one and ignoring this other pentacle that's perfectly, intact, the same exact pentacle, but it's not in front of his face. Seeing this brings clarity to make a decision. A baby, or immature being, can only see what's right in front of his face until his or her field of view is expanded. All right, so that brings up stunted growth. Just like a drug can physically stunt your growth, a negative experience or trauma can stunt your emotional or spiritual growth. Acting like a baby, not to see, a protection mechanism. Connecting to higher self frees the flow of information and clarity to stay present and always finding peace or flow by allowing. So it's very important for Divine Feminine and for Divine Masculine's going through all of these things. And finally, maybe coming into contact with all the wounds that have been controlling him his whole life. And to remember that the Divine Masculine can be very much tunnel vision because he's blocked emotionally or spiritually from some kind of traumatic event, whether it's in this lifetime or another, or in the DNA of his family. Okay, so recently, the King of Cups lost his need for independence and connecting with his higher self, possibly losing money and power, seeking what he already knew. Okay, so he's looking outside of himself for information that was already within. The twins connected to higher self have all the information they need. The foundation for the Divine Feminine has to do with the man of passion in the aftermath of the truth coming out and being present in his shaman energies or in his abilities and paying attention to all of his synchronicities. Centrally for the Divine Feminine, and also there's some fear there for the Divine Masculine, like seeing the synchronicities, not, especially for those who don't believe in anything or have a very strong belief about God, they may fear it has to do with the devil. Centrally, working to align conflict with inspiration and a passionate new start, there is stress and suffering connected to the secret or the High Priestess or his own psychic abilities. The High Priestess and Magician are connected by suffering and connected by mastering their thoughts. The challenge for the Divine Feminine is the wounded warrior, manipulated and judged, unaware of his passions and abilities and warrior strength. Now, in the heart and head of the Divine Feminine, as the angels send messages of truth to him, childhood rejection becomes clear, and lack of opportunity stirs anger issues of instability in receiving more information. So this was at 10:44 to 10:45 this morning. There was a helicopter overhead while I'm writing this. Okay? So, again, what I was saying, in the head and heart of the Divine Feminine, but this also reflects the Divine Masculine energy, as angels send messages of truth to him, the Divine Masculine, or the Divine Masculine within the Divine Feminine, childhood rejection becomes clear, and lack of opportunity has stirred anger issues of instability, so root chakra issues, and receiving more information. That too much information can be just as harmful as too little information, and needs to clear root chakra issues of safety and security and find his home in his heart. Okay, so this could relate to the Divine Masculine, but also the masculine side of the Divine Feminine. He's going forth boldly, without consideration of others, roughshotting right over them, has caused pain and betrayal due to narcissistic tendencies of obsession and sneaky behavior, in working his way to his destiny of being the Emperor. And what's the Emperor all about? Controlling others. As the King of Wands, who's the man of passion, looks down, disappointed in the Emperor, getting caught in the bushes with his pants down, or just his obsession coming to life as true love through the work that he loves. There's a couple different scenarios here, but I'm literally seeing the King of Wands, whether it's two people or just him looking at himself as the Emperor. The King of Wands looking straight on sideways to the Emperor, who's looking straight ahead, but the Emperor's kind of sneakily, when the King of Wands isn't looking, he's looking at him like in, like saying sorry. But, the Emperor's too proud to say sorry. And the King of Wands is not seeing that anyway, because he's looking down sad or disappointed. Okay. So, I'm going to say that again. He's going forth boldly, without consideration of others. Roughshotting right over them has caused pain and suffering due to narcissistic tendencies of obsession and sneaky behavior in working his way to his destiny of being the emperor, as the King of Wands looks down disappointed in the emperor. So he could be disappointed in himself, or disappointed in a father or a boss, or an uncle or a father-in-law. Getting caught in the bushes with his pants down, or just his obsession coming to life as true love, like a true love, a person true love, through the work that he loves, okay? Soon, an unhappy family cycle is over, as the King of Pentacles is strong in dealing with very deep emotional waters and opening his lotus. Batman, floating in new territory, and I literally saw the Batman symbol in the water. The Emperor is sitting straight ahead as the King of Wands positioned toward the Emperor, looking down sad. The Emperor sneakily and guiltily peeks over at the King of Wands and all of his dreams of love. So it's like the Emperor looking at his son, or the boss, whoever it is, now seeing his son and all the dreams of love that he's had. The cycle of the King of Pentacles, noble man, being pacified by passive-aggressive Leo is finally over in a final judgment. So whether his own judgment or someone else's judgment of him, it's finally over. And the Emperor could be a narcissistic feminine as well. It could be the narcissist can be the divine masculine, but also could be the karmic energy. It doesn't have to be the divine masculine. I mean, divine feminine may be more narcissistic in some relationships because she may be the more masculine one. The King of Cups in the past went back to shaman roots to propel his mastery of thoughts as the King of Swords and working toward his King of Pentacles nobility, his manifestation abilities, with moderation and love. Okay? The divine feminine is leading the way, or getting attention and success through suffering to find self-love, and previously unaware of that self-love, and now of new love, now expressing passionate feelings. Unrequited love and passion both came up for the divine feminine. Okay, so it could be, there's definitely passion there. So it's either the unrequited love of the past is coming up, of the present, or the unrequited love of the self, which we've now been talking about, self-love, and now coming into her passion. Just getting over the hump of the 5D world. Around the divine feminine, the King of Swords separated from expressing his true feelings of heartbreak, delaying communications. He slowly makes his way out of the dungeon with a flame, with one flame, and another ray of sunshine leading his way out through the divine triangle, as new life and romance hover above. The divine feminine needs to clear blocks of shining her light and being in the public eye, being defensive to others, and the Queen of Wands, all right, so if you're defensive to the karmic energy, that's a fear, because all defense is fear, who looks down upon others as if her light is so much greater, you know, that her shit doesn't stink, that kind of attitude, that her light is so much greater than others, as she boldly moves forward. And that can be the rough-shodding energy as well as the Queen of Wands. She is loving and light as long as she gets her way and is always ready to fight for her workhorse so she can sit and look pretty. So it's about the divine feminine recognizing any fear of the Queen of Wands. And for me, this is very apparent since my mother is a Queen of Wands. And you know, transmuting those childhood fears of that kind of energy. Okay? That it means nothing and you're just seeing their insecurities. You know, it's coming off as arrogant or egotistical. That's insecurity. It's not real. You know, when someone's shining their true love light, you know what's real and what's not. Okay? The Emperor, so when you get that kind of energy, instead of feeling jealous of maybe a beautiful woman who's showing off, just know that if she were really a beautiful woman, she wouldn't need to show off her beauty. You know, it would just radiate. Okay? So you know the difference and know this. And if someone's trying to make you feel less than, know it's their insecurity, okay? And deal with those wounds that are coming up for you where they first enter. The Emperor, detached from her, releases his twin, third party, or kids and his overindulgences. Okay, so some of the divine masculines may need to release their kids in order to come together to union. Nature comes up as well as abundance and self-discipline, which come up more important than nature. Abundance and self-discipline. So right now we're in October 10, the Wheel of Fortune. It's all about getting into your mission and creating abundance and your self-discipline, about being in your creativity. Okay? Just like your daily spirituality, you need to also be disciplined about your abundance. Staying in your higher self and putting a little effort into your creative discipline each day. Connecting with your dreams and fantasies by aligning your work details with meditation and things you love to do. And a partner you're madly in love with. To stay present to the family legacy and alchemize, be patient and balance expansion and co-creation through ending victim mentality, or in other words, end the battle of defending your wounds in order to justify your existence, knowing you are worthy of great love. Burdened by the Queen of Wands reversed, lover, and Spirit was connecting with me about the great love stuff. Burdened by the Queen of Wands reversed, lover, the Empress rises to the top. Okay, so you don't need to allow the Queen of Wands reversed energy to take you down. You're the Empress. You rise to the top. Preserving her heart with a copy of it out for show. The original reserved for her twin. The twins inspired, spirits connecting. The spirits inspired to shaman energy express burdens to higher self in order to transmute pain and suffering, judging only with light by mastery of thoughts and alchemizing conflict. Okay, and that's it for the Divine Feminine. And I'm going to pull your, it was just 11701, and I'm going to do your oracle card, so that's your marker, 11701. I'll have to remember that and put that in the comments below. Yep. Okay. So we have for the Ascension deck, take a deep breath, okay? Clear and align. All right. Take a deep breath, and this will be for the organic true twins. Organic Crystal Sophia, Mother Father. What is the advice for the organic true twins today? That wants to come out. Another one fell as well. So the bottom of the deck is nature. Perfect. Okay, it's number 3, which is the Empress, all right, which topped off the read. And that nature, number 3, is all about abundance. The affirmation is, I thank, bless, and love the entire nature kingdom. So just remember that nature is abundance. The card that came out, that was very apparent, is Pleiades. Okay, it's number 16, the Tower. It just actually came out for us. And a card that flipped out and fell is the Dolphins. And that's something that came up too, because I forgot to bring that up when I brought up the Undine, or Undinese. It all has to do with water, and I wanted to bring up that because, and I guess I did bring it up, that the music of the spheres is much like the dolphin and whale music. So to listen to that, but also just the swimming with the dolphin's energy, you know, it's very important for you and your spirituality. The Dolphins is number 23, which is the King of Wands, and the Pleiades is 16, which is the Tower. So you got the Tower for the King of Wands, okay? And the King of Wands and the King of Wands and the King of Swords were here, very specific to the Divine Masculine here today, and having to do with suffering. His suffering cycle's ending. So he's still in it a bit. He's at the 9, you know, the suffering cycles. And that's what I see the 9 of Swords these days, is the suffering cycle, because even if it's reversed, it's not ended, because you still have to get to the 10. So it's just, you know, the reprieve before another heavy suffering cycle. But, you know, we always go through that to an extent. But also the King of, all 4 kings have been coming up, but very much the King of Wands. because it's in the Sirian Starseed deck, the King of Wands is a shaman. So, you know, that represents his abilities. So it's been coming up a lot for him. The Pleiades, number 16, or the Tower, is a 7. It's very much the Chariot energy, right? It's that very spiritual, strong, powerful energy that charges forward in ascension. It's the 6 of the motherly energy on the inside, with the masculine energy as a leader on the outside. You know, being very motherly and nurturing to support this strong focus on the outside, to lead. The Pleiadians are great healers. They love Earth and all who live on her. By drawing this card, you're being invited to open your heart to Pleiadian healing. Let them enfold you in their loving, healing blue light, so that their wisdom and gifts flow through you, or flow into you. When you have absorbed these qualities into your energy fields, pass them on to others. Remember that the animals who come from the Pleiades, sheep, pandas, and pigs, heal people and the land, bless them, and honor their work on our planet. And the affirmation is, I open my heart to love and healing from the Pleiades. And then we have the Dolphins, which I says 23, the King of Wands, of 5, that expansion energy. He is the man of passion after all. It's the 3 of joy on the inside and self-expression, but coming through more softer as the feminine energy and more mediative energy. Okay, so kind of masks his passion a bit. Okay, so it doesn't come off so strong, so he doesn't scare people away. The dolphin sonics purify and raise the frequency of water as they swim through it, so that they can access, maintain, and pass on the wisdom of Golden Atlantis and Lemuria. Those dolphins who shimmer with aquamarine light, and the aquamarine light has also come up this week as very important, are the angels of Atlantis. They are mighty beings who help to hold the frequency of the oceans. Choosing this card invites you to tune into the beautiful dolphins and access a message from them. Your guidance is to relax and flow with the current of ascension, knowing that the dolphins are telepathically imparting help and wisdom to you. And the affirmation is, I connect with dolphin wisdom. Okay, so very much connect with the dolphins. I've been listening to a lot of the dolphin music recently. It's very relaxing, and it'll help you connect with the higher realms as well. And the aquamarine light. For me, you know, it's different for everyone because everyone's abilities are different. And my clairvoyance is not as strong as my clairsentience and my claircognizance. But I do see certain lights very frequently, and aquamarine is not one of them, but it resonates with me very strongly. But I have a hard time seeing, you know, the blues, the throat chakra blues, the lighter blues. You know, I see the darker indigo and purples and greens all the time, as well as a lot of the oranges and yellows and reds come up at times, and pinks and violet very much so, but the and gold. But the blue I do see the lighter blue, but I don't see it as often, so it tends to elude me. So it's very much about working on throat chakra issues, and the aqua is right in there, okay, because it's high heart chakra. I mean, think about it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if most twins resonate to violet and aquamarine, okay, because they're very high vibrational colors. It's of, you know, your crown and your high heart. It's very strong energy. Okay. So dolphin, Pleiades, nature. And then we have the past life deck, okay. Clear in a line. Clear in a line. Clear in a line. Okay. So what is the advice for the true twins? Take a deep breath, everyone. And we have orphan, and also this one ships wants to come up too, and Greek Roman, so Greco-Roman, to the bottom of the deck. Okay, and it's about the, you know, the rays breaking through the clouds in the Colosseum, right? Isn't that the wounded warrior in the Colosseum? So it's very much like the, it's reminding me of the, in the Sirian Starseed deck, the The Ten of Wands is like coming out of the dungeon with the light. And this is reminding me of that, because the Colosseum very much is the dungeon, right? They used to keep them in dungeons before they released them to the animals. So it's about breaking through the clouds to allow the light to shine, and the rays. And it reminded me too, again, I had started writing a book a long time ago, which was actually inspired by my twin. Because of him. I mean, he knows that I wrote the first 2 chapters because he inspired me to do so. But I've written 9 chapters now, and the rays comes up for me. I haven't looked at my book in a while, and I was reading through it last night, and the rays just reminded me of, and I'm sure I brought this up before, but when I miscarried in my first marriage to someone who was very emotionally abusive. So, you know, it was a blessing in disguise. But of course, at the time when you go through a miscarriage, it's never a blessing in disguise. But it reminded me of the rays, because I had named him. I'd always liked Cesare. I don't like Caesar the way it's spelled. I don't like the Americanized version of it, but it's pronounced Cesare. And I liked that, so I'd spelled it phonetically. And when I looked back at how I had spelled it, it was literally home of the ray. I had named my child. So that was pretty cool, and I just wanted to share that again with you. It was Cesare, so I spelled it C-H-E-Z, which in French is home, or, you know, A-Ray, A-R-A-Y. So, you know, nothing's by mistake. You know, go back and you see all these synchronicities. It's pretty cool. So Cesare. So the cards that came out from the past life deck. Orphan, which was my Cesare, right? Okay, so what does that bring up for you? And also ships. It's about your, just getting your ship coming in, which I don't usually get when I see this card. So, okay, so what does it bring up for you? Were you left behind when someone boarded a ship? Were you orphaned because your parents drowned on a ship? Or were you left behind because they had something better than you? Okay, and you know, they were waiting for the ship to come in and they ditched you. There's a lot about ships. You know, there's so much depth surrounding ships. And, you know, initial travel from one country to another, and battles and all sorts of things. So, but this ship is very clean and white. The sails are like, and I've seen this before, like blinders. Or I didn't say blinders before. I meant blinds. Okay, but it's, I guess I was meant to say blinders. The ship's masks. Okay. Mast, but it's telling me mask, right? Because the blinders are on. It's about masking the truth, and which is relating to an orphan, right? Everything is an illusion because they don't know the truth. You know, how could God have abandoned them? They're masked. They just need to open the blinds. There's so much shadow on blinds too, right? On every piece there's a shadow aspect to it. So it's saying there are many more layers to bring up, okay? Having to do with orphan being is abandon and rejection, right? And everything else having to do with it. Injustice, humiliation. What's the fifth one? Okay? So there's more wounds to bring up. It's not blocking anything, but it's just Spirit reminding you there's always more stuff to clear. Okay, we have, don't forget Reka Roma was at the bottom, so it had to do with, and there may actually be some Colosseum stuff that needs to come up. You know, if you actually were in the pits with the lions. How scary would that be? Okay. Oh, and that just brings up something too. I know it's getting long, but sorry. There was, years ago, I had seen a Kardashian episode where Khloe had gone in a cage with lions or tigers, I forget which ones were in the cage. But I felt it was very brave, because you have to be very spiritual and calm to do that, even though she had the guide with her. You're still getting in a cage with a wild animal. But it's very spiritual to do that. And I'm bringing it up because when I was still at work at the time, or actually was going back to my going away party at work, the lunch that they were having for me. And I brought that up because I thought it was really cool. And everyone at the table totally had the opposite perspective of me. It was all about conservatism, and that it was very foolish to do that. And someone actually even said they were very disappointed in me that I had actually watched a Kardashian episode, which was pretty funny, and how judgmental is that? But this is the perspective of others, right? Maybe they may perceive that as very foolish. You know, you have kids at home. You know, should you be really putting yourself in a cage with a wild animal? But who am I to say? I mean, you know, when I was in deep pain and I had children at the time, I jumped out of a plane. So it's the same thing. So it's about, you know, bringing up judgment, because, you know, that's how we started out the video, right? That it's okay to judge, but just if you're judging in a negative sense, you know, you need to look inside yourself as to why that is. Why do you feel that way? Okay, so now we have the journey of love. Journey of love for the twins. Take a deep breath for me. Okay, for the true twins. Okay. I'm putting them back because multiple cards came up and I just want one card. So, one card please for the true twins. That's two again. Well, I guess they want me to do two. Okay. So the bottom of the deck is Becoming 34. And it's very beautiful, the colors in here. It's that blue that I was talking about, the throat chakra blue with the light greens and a little bit of violet in there, and yellows, and a little bit of orange, earthy orange, and taupe. 34 is the 8 of Wands. It's very passionate communication. Quick communication. It's very physical, and I always say this when I did zip lining. It was very much 8 of Wands. That's very representative of that. The cards that came out are the Void, number 40. Always very important. 40 is the Page of Cups, and Across the Waters also came up, which is sinking the topic of water that came up, which again is the 23, so you received the King of Wands multiple times. And 40, the Void, is all about stability, right? In your heart, your stability. So I'm going to read that for you, the Void and Across the Waters. The Void is 40, the Void. At the end of every cycle and the beginning of every cycle, there's a moment of transition. It may last for a moment of time, a moment of feeling, or many years of deep inner work whilst feeling displaced. The transition may require patience to endure the absence of knowing, the lack of certainty about who you are and why you're here on this planet. A void may open up between one moment of meeting with your lover and seemingly endless stretch of time, even if it's only days that seem as though they are eternal in duration, as you wait to reconnect again. Yet if you can accept this entry into the cosmic void as preparation for your next cycle of manifestation, if you can accept that darkness is holding you with love, not, with unfeelingness, then you can relax and let the preparation be what it must be. Then you can be well equipped for the next steps forward on your glorious divine adventure this lifetime, meeting the beloved, whether divine or human lover, in a fresh new moment, excited, open, and curious always. This oracle brings you guidance. There are parts of your own process unfolding that you simply cannot know about yet. It will not always be this way, but for now it is most helpful for you to only deal with what is immediately before you, like the baby that can only see what's right in front of them. Be in your tunnel vision. All else will be shown when the time is right. There is growing to be done, and then the void will bring forth the next step on your path to meet you. You do not have to worry, and you do not have to search. Be present and be patient. When you can do something, do it. When you cannot, just be. Your time will soon come. If you're holding a question about relationship and spirits connecting, surrender it to the void and let it become what it must be according to spiritual wisdom and love. And the poem simply reads, a coming together, a blending of one, and spirits still connecting, where understanding spans the space between and separation disappears to form anew. A coming together, a blending of one, where understanding spans the space between and separation disappears to form anew. And this is very much about quantum. Okay, the space between. You can't measure it, so it bothers you, and you need to learn to let go of it. Okay? Across the Waters is 23. It's about faith. It's the leap of faith quantum, right? The quantum leap. 23. Across the Waters. You're being called across the waters, as if crossing a bridge of light from one ocean to a far greater one. These waters are your emotional waters, and it was all about that today. You know, we got the Undies and the water card, and you know, whatever else came up with the dolphins and everything. These waters are your emotional waters, holding your feelings, your attitudes, your expectations, and your fears and doubts, as well as your hopes and dreams. It can seem like such a lot to navigate. Sometimes our waters feel overcrowded, as if swarms of people were descending into the ocean on a sweltering hot day, hardly finding a space in the water to cool ourselves. We can feel as though there's just no room for faith, peace, and love, and trust. There's just too much happening in the water all at once. We yearn for the cool, calm mountain lake, serene, giving, echoing a gentle dispensation of grace. You're being called across the waters, out from an overcrowded sea into the cool spaciousness of the endless lake. So it's time to let go some mental clutter, some attitudes, some thoughts. Ask for help and bathe yourself in the green and gold rays of healing color. Just imagine them cascading around you and through you like a waterfall. It's a bit like you're moving to a new neighborhood in a cleaner and more spacious town. It might be a bit unfamiliar at first, but soon enough you'll enjoy the difference. This oracle brings you a message. It is your time to think about something in a different light. Soon you'll have a shift in perspective, and the feeling of overwhelm, stress, and just too much going on will be replaced with serene trust and peacefulness. Know that beneath even the most chaotic mind is a place of deep, quiet serenity within. Do whatever helps you dive deep to find it. Dance, take some rest, meditate, do yoga, write, paint, make love, make music. In that quiet serenity within, you'll be leaving unnecessary chaos behind, and you'll be presented with the gift of a new way forward. Inhaling the soft scent of promised taste, the nectar moist upon my lips, I savor each sip across my tongue, dwelling in the moment's pleasure, warm and sweet, bathed in tingling thirst. I find myself wanting you, wanting more. Okay. So it's kind of like the hangman too, just shifting your perspective, right? To let go of the expansion energies, that stress feeling when things are changing, and just let go to know that as soon as your perspective changes, then you'll find the peace that you need. Okay. And so here we are again. It's been a long video, but we're at 138 to 39, which is the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Very beautiful energy. And I just want to remind you to drink water, since water came up today. Very important. I hope it's making you thirsty. You might want to clear your space. Burn some sage if you want to, if you like sage. But most of all, make sure you take care of yourself. And be good, be happy, and rise, and be